Hello everyone, today we're going to continue talking about Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. If you remember my last video, which you haven't seen, go check it out. We talked about some of the things we want to look out for to see if the future potential for this game really pans out. Well, there's been some recent news and interviews that touch on a lot of the things we talked about that I think is really interesting. So, let's take a look at it. What I want to look at today is this article that came out, and it's an interview with the CEO of Ludosity, which is the development company behind Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. In this interview, they go over a lot of the questions that we had actually talked about in our last video, and I think it gives a lot of insight into what we can expect for this game when it's released and also for the future. So what I want to do is just go question by question and give my thoughts on each section. I'll be jumping around a bit, so if you want to read the full article yourself, I'll put a link down in the description for you to take a look. How did the team decide which characters would be a good fit for the roster with decades worth of Nickelodeon shows to choose from? Without reading the full answers, I just want to call out some of the important pieces that I see. I think it's great that they're showing that they want to bring fun characters in. This game isn't just about bringing every character in or what they think they should be bringing in. They're wanting to have some fun, and I think that's fun. Fun. Because it's called Nickelodeon and not Nicktoons, can we expect any live action Nickelodeon characters to show up? Will players see any All That characters or something else from Are You Afraid of the Dark? There are currently no live action characters in our base lineup, and we are currently not looking at any for future characters either. I think that's fine. I think it'd be super weird to have live action characters in it. Having to make a moveset around someone that's a real person, I think, would really limit the moveset, although I think it'd be hilarious. I think it would totally take away from the cartoon style of the game. I think it'd be super weird. I'm glad to hear that they don't have plans for that. If they did it, we'll see what happens, but I think it's a good decision for now. What goes into the decision of reviving characters like Powdered Toast Man? He's fun, video games are fun, it's a great match. I don't have too much to say here. Again, I think a lot of this gives a little bit of insight into the development team, which they're obviously just having a good time, which is what we want to see. If they're having a good time, we're going to have a good time. What went into the decision to go with rollback netcode for online play? Is online important to the team? Now listen, as the response to this question may be the most important response in this entire article. Online and competitive play is extremely important to us. We have rollback, and we also have a great lobby system for both casual and ranked play. I mean, this is... I don't want to put Nintendo down too much because I love Nintendo so much. But I will say that this is exactly what we've been wanting to hear from Nintendo that we just historically have not. But we now have a platform fighter with what seems like a decent enough following at launch, where the development team also cares about online and competitive play. And given this past 2 years basically, where we've been playing online almost exclusively, I think this is so important for the future of this type of genre. Which features or modes can players expect for multiplayer or online modes? You can play in lobbies or quick match online. All modes are there, including Sports Ball, our own fun mode we're bringing over from Slap City. It's sports with balls. So, for those of you that don't know what this is, let me pull it up really quick. I'll put a link in the description if you want to watch this full video. So this is from Slap City. This is obviously the devs that are working on Nickelodeon All Stars, and it's basically like soccer and volleyball and Rocket League, like all kind of put into one. I think this would be a blast. It just seems like another fun thing to kind of play with your friends, family, whatever. I think the fact that we're seeing things like they have lobby system for casual and ranked, and then the fact that they're going to have, lobbies, quick match, sports ball, it shows that they've really thought through all of the use cases we may want on the online modes, which is good. I think it means if you want to play really competitively, there's going to be a place for you to do that. If you want to play really casually, there's going to be a place. If you just want to try something new, have some fun, looks like there's going to be that too. I think this really allows them to reach a wider audience, which for a new game entering the platform fighter community, I think is going to be really important. Here we go. This is another great one. Fighting game fans seem to have taken notice of Nickelodeon All Stars Brawl. Does the team see it as a competitive game? Absolutely, we do. I don't want to repeat myself too much, but again, this just means that they're really listening to those of us that put a lot of time and hours into platform fighters, where if they care about that kind of stuff, I mean, we can expect really good balancing, stages that support competitive play, hopefully even things like them, hosting or supporting competitive events, which, Nintendo actively shuts down, at least at the moment. So it's really good. I think, again, for those of us like myself that are a little bit more on the sweaty side of the player base, this is great news. Was competitive play something that factored into your plans for the game? Yes, in fact, it was even heavily suggested from Nickelodeon before we had a publisher for the game. It's been there since day one. Not much to say here. It's all really good. The fact that it's been a thought since day one means we can assume the game is shaped around them supporting competitive play, and it wasn't an afterthought. How many characters are you planning for the initial release of All Star Brawl, and what are your plans for DLC characters and stages down the line? When might those show up post-launch? This is really important because we've talked about DLC. DLC shows that they're going to continue to work on the game after its release, which is really good for its future. We want it to be fresh and maintained. So at launch, there will be 20 characters and 2 more following soon after. Additional DLC characters will be revealed after that. Stay tuned. It's just good. It means they're going to breathe life into the game every so often, which I think we're going to need for it to constantly feel fresh and fun. I actually think Nintendo's done a phenomenal job here with all the DLC characters they've added from really big franchises. So this is just in line with, I think, what we'd all expect at this point of having characters come in that are new and add that new flavor to the game. Many of the characters announced so far have iconic voices attached to them. Are the characters included voiced by the original actors? If so, who's on board? This is a really good one to touch on because I think this and maybe the feel of the gameplay are the 2 biggest complaints I've seen around this game. So their response here is interesting. I'll just read it. Our focus was on creating the best possible game experience for core brawling fans and Nickelodeon fans around the globe. It is not as straightforward to do as one might think, and as we continue to build the Nick All-Stars franchise, we will be reviewing all options, which may include adding a voice. I'm assuming VO is voiceovers down the road, which is good. I mean, in my opinion, voiceovers are not make or break for any game, but if that's something that's really important to you, I think the initial launch of this game and however successful it is could pave the path for voiceovers to be added to the game at some point, which would be great. I think although it's not a make or break for me, I do think it would make the game feel a lot more polished, which is important. What do you think the viewers of this YouTube video should do right now? We think the answer is pretty obvious. You should like and subscribe to Dribblin' Dibblin' because not only does he make fantastic content, but he's also incredibly handsome. Oh, thanks, guys. Not to mention, he'll likely be one of the best Nickelodeon All Star Brawl players out there. I mean, hey, I didn't say it, they did, so do it, I guess. Just in case it's not clear, they didn't actually say that. But you should like, subscribe, share, do all those things anyways. Will there be any fun references Nick fans may not expect? Can you give any hints as to how deep in the catalog you went for this game? Every move is referenced from the shows. Literally everything in the game can be traced back to something from the Nickelodeon universe. I think this is important. We talked about this a bit in my last video of the idea where a game, if it has characters that people already love or things that people already love, it's more likely to bring them in for playing the actual game, which obviously contributes and supports the success of a game, because if people aren't buying, it's not going to be successful. So the fact that they pulled moves from the shows as well as, the characters, I just think it makes the game more fun, and I think it'll make it a lot more lovable, because we should see the personalities of these characters come through their movesets, which just makes it more fun. It's going to make it more exciting to play. Did your team have any issues with Nickelodeon allowing certain characters for the game? Not at all. There were a small number of characters that had global licensing issues, but apart from those, Nickelodeon has been up to all of our suggestions. This is more exciting for, I'd say, the future, because now we know that Nickelodeon's open to bringing anyone and everyone into the game. So if there's some characters you're like really hoping to be added to the game, I think this opens up the door that there's a chance that your favorite may be added at some point. Does the team have an internal meta for character selection? This is also really important. No, we all had different playstyles, so we each gravitate towards different characters. I personally get my butt kicked no matter who I play against, though. We can't wait to see where the meta goes, and we'll be monitoring the balance closely. This is probably the most important sentence for this question. It's the fact that they're going to be monitoring balance, which means that they will likely be patching balance updates to make sure that each character has an even chance of winning. This is again an area I think Nintendo has done pretty decent at. Not perfectly, but I don't know if anyone could really do it perfectly, but it's good to see that they're going to be monitoring that balance and hopefully making the game really balanced so that no matter who you choose, you have a good chance of being able to compete against any other character. Do you have a confirmed release date you can share? We already talked about this in the last video, but October 5th, I believe, from what I understand on the Microsoft Store, this is releasing October 5th, midnight Eastern time zone, which means those of us like myself that are in the Pacific time zone, we get to get it at 9 p.m. on October 4th. That's a bit of a guess. We'll see if that actually happens, but it'd be super exciting because if it is, I will be playing on October 4th. And for those of you that want to watch me play and learn this October 5th, I will be streaming for 8 hours that day, and we're just going to be going through every character, practicing everything, learning things, talking about it. This will all be on my Twitch channel. It should be a blast. So if you want to join me there, my Twitch link is in the description below. I'd love to have you around. All right, that's it. Again, if you want to look into this a little bit more in depth, I've put the link to the article down in the description below. I totally encourage you taking a look at it and mulling it over and having your own opinions. Comment down below what you think. Is there anything in this article that really stood out to you as the most exciting thing, or maybe the most concerning thing? I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. With that said, as always, I'd love if you liked and subscribed. I plan on making a lot more Nickelodeon content as well as Super Smash content. So if you like either of those things like myself, go ahead and click those buttons. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to watch me play this game, I will be playing it on Twitch right after it comes out. My link to Twitch is down in the description below. I also have a link to my Discord where me and a lot of people in my Discord just like to talk about games, both this one and some other ones. With that said, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I will talk to you very soon. Peace.